They sat across from me like executives at a performance review. My daughter Emily on the left, my son Kevin on the right, and Kevin's wife Jessica between them like a moderator. The dining room table I'd bought 23 years ago now served as their conference room. Emily had printed everything, color-coded tabs stuck out from a 3-ring binder thick enough to stop a bullet. She'd always been organized, straight A's through college, MBA from Northwestern, VP of something at a firm downtown. She pushed the binder toward me with both hands, ceremonial. "Dad, we've been talking," she said. Kevin nodded. He wore a suit even though it was Saturday. "We think it's time." "Time for what?" Jessica leaned forward. She'd married Kevin 8 years ago, and I'd never trusted her smile. Too practiced, too ready. "Time to make some changes. For your own good." I looked at my wife, Margaret. She sat at the far end of the table, hands folded, watching them with the expression she used when she was deciding whether to laugh or walk out. She caught my eye but said nothing. Emily opened the binder. "We've consulted with an elder care attorney, also a financial planner, and Dr. Reeves." "My doctor?" "He agrees you're showing signs of decline, memory issues, confusion about dates. Yesterday you called me twice asking the same question." I had called her twice. Once about her mother's birthday dinner, once about whether she'd picked up the photos I'd had restored. 2 different questions. But I didn't correct her. Kevin pulled out his phone, scrolled, turned it toward me. "You also sent me this text at 3 in the morning last Tuesday." The screen showed, "Kevin, call me when you can." "That's it?" I said. "At 3 in the morning, Dad. That's not normal." I'd been up with acid reflux, remembered I needed to ask him about refinancing rates, typed the message, and went back to sleep. Told him to call when he could. Didn't seem worth explaining now. Jessica touched the binder like it was evidence in court. "We've outlined everything here. Where you'll live, how the assets will be managed, medical decisions, power of attorney." "We've already looked at 3 facilities," Emily said. "Brookside is the nicest. Private rooms, activities, a nurse on staff 24/7. I'm 64. "And showing early signs of cognitive decline?" "According to who?" "Dr. Reeves. It's in the notes." Margaret finally spoke. "Did Dr. Reeves tell you this directly, or did you request the notes and interpret them yourself?" Emily's jaw tightened. She didn't like being questioned. "We requested the records. It's our right as concerned family members." "Under what authorization?" Margaret asked. Kevin shifted. "We used the Hippo release form Dad signed 3 years ago when he had the kidney stone. Remember? He put us down as emergency contacts." "Emergency contacts doesn't mean unrestricted access to medical records," Margaret said quietly. Jessica smiled again. "We had an attorney review it. It's valid." I picked up the binder. Heavy. Maybe 2 pounds. I flipped through the tabs. Living arrangements, financial management, healthcare directives, asset liquidation. Each section had printouts, highlighted passages, sticky notes with Emily's handwriting. "You've been busy," I said. "We love you, Dad," Kevin said. "This is hard for us, too." I stopped at a page titled Proposed Monthly Budget. It listed groceries, utilities, medication, clothing, everything itemized. At the bottom, total monthly allowance, $1,800. $1,800 a month, Emily nodded. "That's more than generous. Brookside covers room and board. This is for personal expenses." I thought about the mortgage, about the investment account I'd built over 30 years, about the life insurance policy, about the rental property in Ohio that brought in $4,000 a month. What happens to the house? "We sell it," Kevin said. "The market's strong right now. We can get $750,000, maybe $800,000. After closing costs and paying off the mortgage, that's about $500,000 in equity. We'll put that in a trust. Manage distributions." "Managed by who?" "Emily and me, co-trustees." "And the rental property?" "Same thing. Sell it. Consolidate everything into one managed account." I turned more pages. There was a letter from Dr. Reeves. I read it slowly. It mentioned I'd complained about forgetting where I'd parked at the grocery store. It mentioned I'd seemed confused about dates during my last checkup. It recommended a cognitive assessment. It didn't say I had dementia. It didn't say I was incompetent. It said I should get tested. But the way Emily had highlighted certain phrases, the way she'd arranged the letter next to a printout about early onset cognitive decline, made it look worse than it was. "You're cherry-picking," I said. "We're being thorough," Emily said. Margaret stood up. "I'm making coffee. Anyone want some?" No one answered. She left the room. Jessica slid another document toward me. "This is the power of attorney. It's durable, which means it takes effect immediately. You won't have to worry about bills or decisions. We'll handle everything. What if I don't sign? The room went quiet. Emily and Kevin exchanged a glance. Jessica's smile faded. Dad, Kevin said, don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm asking a question. Emily closed the binder. If you don't sign voluntarily, we'll petition for guardianship. We have Dr. Reeves's letter. We have documentation of your decline. A judge will appoint us anyway. That could take months. 3 to 6, Jessica said. But we'd win, and it would cost you a lot more in legal fees. This way is cleaner. I looked at each of them. Emily, the daughter who used to sit on my lap and make me read the same book 5 times in a row. Kevin, the son who'd cried when I taught him to ride a bike because he didn't want to fall. Jessica, the stranger who'd somehow convinced my son that his father was a liability. When did you plan this? I asked. We've been discussing it for a few months, Kevin said. Before or after Thanksgiving? What does that matter? Just curious. Emily sighed. Before. We've been worried for a while. I remembered Thanksgiving. I'd hosted. Cooked a 20-pound turkey. Made Margaret's stuffing recipe. Set the table for 12. Emily and Kevin and their families came. We ate. We talked. They left. No one mentioned I was losing my mind. No one suggested I needed help. They smiled. They hugged me. They took leftovers. And then they went home and planned this. Margaret came back with coffee. She set a cup in front of me. Black. No sugar. The way I'd been drinking it for 40 years. I picked up the pen Emily had placed next to the binder. Where do I sign? Kevin exhaled like he'd been holding his breath. Emily flipped to the flagged pages. Jessica pointed to the signature lines. I signed the first page, then the second, then the third. Thank you, Dad, Emily said. This is the right thing. I signed the 4th page. The 5th? Kevin stood up. We'll file these Monday morning. Brookside has an opening next month. We'll help you pack. I signed the 6th page. Margaret sipped her coffee. She watched me over the rim of her cup. I closed the binder and slid it back to Emily. I signed everything you asked, I said. We really think this is best, Jessica said. I'm sure you do. Kevin checked his phone. We should get going. We're meeting the realtor at 2 to discuss listing the house. They stood up. Emily tucked the binder under her arm. Jessica grabbed her purse. Kevin shook my hand like we'd just closed a business deal. We'll call you tomorrow, Emily said. They walked out. I heard the front door close, heard Kevin's car start, heard them drive away. Margaret sat down next to me. You signed the wrong documents. I know. They're going to be upset. I know, she smiled. Not the practice smile Jessica used. The real one. The one I'd fallen in love with 43 years ago. How long have you been planning this? She asked. A few months? Before or after Thanksgiving? Before. She laughed. Actually laughed. You're a mean old man. They think I'm a confused old man. What did you actually sign? I pulled a folded envelope from my back pocket. Inside were copies of the documents I'd prepared with my attorney. Not the ones Emily brought. The ones I'd swapped in while she was busy pointing at signature lines, power of attorney revocation, trust amendment, property transfer documents, new will. They're going to fight this, Margaret said. Let them. They'll hire lawyers. So will I. She picked up her coffee, studied me. When do they find out? Monday morning. When they try to file their paperwork and discover it's invalid. When they call the bank and find out the accounts have been restructured. When they contact Brookside and learn the deposit was never made. They'll come back here. Probably. What are you going to do? I looked at the table, at the chairs where my children had sat an hour ago, explaining my life to me like I was a child who needed permission to exist. I'm going to let them finish talking, I said, and then I'm going to show them what I signed. As the story unfolds, hit the hype button, like, subscribe, and write in the comments. Would you forgive them or walk away? Sunday morning, I woke up at 5:30. Margaret was still asleep. I made coffee, sat on the back porch, watched the sun come up over the fence line. My phone rang at 7:15. Emily. Morning, I said. Dad, we need to talk about the realtor. What about her? She's coming by at 10 to take photos. Can you and Mom clear out some of the personal items? Family photos, the stuff on the mantle. It shows better without clutter. I'm not clearing anything out. Pause. Dad, we discussed this. The house needs to sell quickly. I'm not selling the house. Longer pause. You signed the documents. The power of attorney gives us the authority to sell. Check the documents again. I have them right here. You signed every page. Look at the header. Top right corner. I heard papers rustling. Then silence. This isn't... Emily's voice changed. Sharp now, angry. These aren't the forms I brought. No. What did you do? I signed the documents my attorney prepared, not yours. You switched them? When? While you were explaining where I'd be living and how much money I'd be allowed to have? More rustling. I could picture her flipping through pages, reading faster, realizing. These revoke our power of attorney, she said. That's right. You can't do this. I just did. Kevin's voice in the background muffled, asking what was wrong. Emily must have put the phone on speaker because I heard her say, He switched the documents. We don't have power of attorney. We don't have anything. Kevin came on the line. Dad, this isn't funny. I'm not laughing. We're trying to help you. You're trying to take everything I own and put me in a nursing home so you can split the money. Don't insult me by calling it help. We're not... You met with a realtor before you even told me your plan. You looked at facilities. You drafted a budget that gives me $1,800 a month from my own money. You did everything except ask me what I wanted. Jessica's voice now, high and tight. We have Dr. Reeves's letter. We can still petition for guardianship. Try it. My attorney has a letter from Dr. Reeves dated Friday, after you requested his records. In it, he clarifies that I have no cognitive impairment and that his previous notes were taken out of context. Silence. How did you get that? Emily asked. I called him Thursday, told him someone was misusing his medical notes to support a guardianship claim. He wasn't happy, wrote a new letter immediately. You planned this. You spent months planning to take control of my life. I spent months making sure you couldn't. Kevin's voice again, strained. Dad, we can work this out. Come on, let's meet. Let's talk about this like adults. I'm done talking. Cancel the realtor, cancel Brookside, and don't come back here unless I invite you. I hung up. Margaret stood in the doorway, holding her own coffee. That went well? They'll call back. Probably. The phone rang again. I turned it off. We spent Sunday doing yard work. Margaret planted bulbs in the flower bed. I fixed the loose boards on the deck. Normal things, quiet things. Around 3 in the afternoon, a car pulled into the driveway. Emily's white Lexus, Kevin's black Audi right behind it. They didn't knock. Emily used her key. I heard the front door open, heard them come in, heard Emily calling, Dad? Mom? Margaret looked at me. I shook my head. We stayed outside. Emily came out to the porch, Kevin and Jessica behind her. Emily's face was red, blotchy. She'd been crying or was about to. We need to talk, she said. I'm listening. Not out here, inside. I'm comfortable here. Kevin stepped forward. Dad, you're making a mistake. How? You need help. You're getting older. Things are going to get harder. We're trying to make sure you're taken care of. I'm 64. I run 3 miles every morning. I manage 2 properties. I file my own taxes. What exactly do I need help with? Jessica crossed her arms. You're being stubborn. You're letting pride get in the way of common sense. Common sense would be asking me what I want before deciding my life for me. Emily sat down on the porch steps. She looked exhausted. We're your children. We love you. Why are you fighting us? Because you didn't come here to ask. You came here to tell. You brought a binder full of decisions you'd already made. You consulted lawyers and doctors and realtors without including me. You treated me like I was already incompetent. We were trying to protect you, Kevin said. From what? No answer. Margaret set down her trowel. Let me ask you something. If your father was healthy, financially stable, and fully capable, would you still be pushing this? That's not the point, Emily said. It's exactly the point. You're not doing this because he needs help. You're doing this because you want control of his assets. Jessica's eyes narrowed. That's a hell of an accusation. It's an observation. You made a budget that gives him $1,800 a month. You plan to sell 2 properties worth over $1 million combined. You set yourself up as trustees with full discretion, and you did it all under the guise of concern. We're his children, Kevin said. Who else would manage his affairs? He can manage them himself, Margaret said. He's been doing it for 40 years. Emily stood up. Fine. You want to do this the hard way? We'll petition for guardianship. We'll let a judge decide. Go ahead, I said. I have Dr. Reeves's updated letter. I have my attorney ready to testify that I'm competent. I have bank statements showing I manage my finances better than either of you. What do you have? We have evidence of decline, Kevin said. You have a doctor's note about me forgetting where I parked. Once. 6 months ago. We have the 3 a.m. text, Jessica said. I texted my son at an inconvenient time. That's not dementia, that's insomnia. Emily pulled out her phone. We have this. She turned the screen toward me. It showed a text conversation, me asking her what time dinner was, then, 2 hours later, asking again. You asked me the same question twice in one day, she said. I looked at the timestamps. The first text was at noon. The second was at 7 p.m. I asked what time dinner was. You didn't answer. I asked again 7 hours later. That's not confusion. That's following up. She scrolled. Here. You asked Kevin about refinancing rates 3 times in 2 weeks? Because the rates kept changing. I was comparing offers. Kevin ran his hand through his hair. He looked like he hadn't slept. Dad, we're not making this up. We've noticed things. You repeat stories. You forget conversations. Everyone does that. It doesn't mean I'm losing my mind. It's a pattern, Emily said. It's confirmation bias. You decided I was declining, so now everything I do looks like a symptom. Jessica stepped closer. You're 70 years old. 64. She blinked. What? I'm 64. If you're going to argue I'm incompetent, at least get my age right. Her face flushed. Kevin looked away. Margaret started laughing. Not loud, just a low, rolling laugh that made Jessica's flush deepen. This is funny to you? Jessica snapped. A little. You're claiming he's too confused to manage his own life, but you don't even know how old he is. Emily grabbed Jessica's arm. Let's go. They walked back through the house. I heard the front door slam. Heard both cars start. Heard them leave. Margaret picked up her trowel again. That was satisfying. They'll be back. I know, but it was still satisfying. Monday morning, my attorney called. His name was Richard Voss. I'd known him for 15 years. He'd handled my will, my business filings, my property transfers. Your kids tried to file the power of attorney documents this morning, he said. And? The clerk rejected them. They're not valid. They also tried to access your bank accounts. Got denied. What did they do? Emily called me. Asked if I'd made an error. I told her there was no error. You'd revoked their power of attorney and restructured your estate. She hung up on me. What's next? They'll probably consult a different attorney, try to find a way to challenge the revocation, but they don't have grounds. You're competent. You acted within your rights. It's done. Can they still petition for guardianship? They can try. But you have Dr. Reeves's letter. You have documentation of your competency. Unless they can prove you're a danger to yourself or others, no judge will grant it. How long would it take? Months. And it would cost them. Court fees, attorney fees, evaluations. Easily $30,000 or more. Will they do it? Richard paused. I don't know. How angry are they? Very. Then maybe. That afternoon I got an email from Kevin. Long, single-spaced, full of phrases like deeply hurt and betrayed our trust, and reconsidering our relationship. I read it twice, then I deleted it. Tuesday, Emily sent a certified letter. It arrived Thursday. Inside was a formal demand to reinstate the power of attorney and a threat to pursue legal action if I didn't comply within 30 days. I forwarded it to Richard. Ignore it, he said. It's posturing. They're angry and trying to scare you. Will they actually file? Do they have $30,000 to spend on a case they'll lose? I thought about Emily's house, the remodel she'd done last year, Kevin's new Audi, Jessica's spending habits. Probably not, I said. Then they're bluffing. Friday morning, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Mr. Brennan? Yes. This is Melissa Cortez from Adult Protective Services. I'm calling about a report we received. It alleges you're being financially exploited by your spouse. I sat down. What? We received an anonymous complaint. It claims your wife is isolating you from your family and controlling your finances. We're required to investigate. Who made the complaint? It was anonymous. My children made it. I can't confirm that, but I do need to meet with you. Are you available tomorrow morning? What happens if I say no? Then I'll have to escalate the case. It's better if we talk voluntarily. I gave her my address. She said she'd be there at 10 a.m. When I told Margaret, she didn't look surprised. They're going to fight dirty, she said. Apparently. What are you going to do? Tell the truth. Show her the documents. Let her see I'm fine. And if that doesn't work, then we get a lawyer and fight back. Saturday at 10, Melissa Cortez knocked on the door. She was younger than I expected, maybe 35. She wore slacks and a blazer and carried a clipboard. I invited her in. Margaret made coffee. We sat in the living room. Melissa asked questions. How long had we been married? how I managed my finances, whether Margaret controlled the accounts, whether I felt safe, whether anyone was pressuring me. I answered everything, showed her bank statements, showed her property deeds, showed her the power of attorney revocation documents. "Your children believe you're being manipulated," she said. "My children tried to take control of my assets without my consent. When I stopped them, they retaliated by filing a false report." That's a serious accusation. It's the truth. They came here 2 weeks ago with a binder full of documents. They told me where I'd live, how much money I'd have, what would happen to my property. I refused. Now they're trying to discredit my wife. Melissa took notes. "Do you feel you're making your own decisions?" "Yes." "Has anyone threatened you?" "My daughter threatened to petition for guardianship if I didn't sign over power of attorney." "Did you sign?" "No, I signed documents that revoked any future claims to my estate without my explicit consent." She glanced at Margaret. "Mrs. Brennan, do you have anything to add?" Margaret set down her coffee. "My husband and I have been married for 43 years. We've made every major decision together. His children are angry because he didn't let them take control of his life. This complaint isn't about protecting him, it's about punishing us." Melissa closed her notebook. "I'll need to file a report, but based on what I've seen, there's no evidence of exploitation. You're clearly competent. Your finances are in order. You're not isolated." "Will my children be notified?" I asked. "No, APS findings are confidential." "Will they face consequences for filing a false report?" "Only if we determine it was made in bad faith. Since it was anonymous, that's hard to prove." After she left, Margaret sat next to me on the couch. "They're escalating." "I know." "What's next?" I didn't know, but I knew it wasn't over. The judge's name was Carolyn Hess. She'd been on the bench for 18 years. Richard had told me she was fair but thorough. She didn't suffer bullshit. Patricia Drummond stood up. "Your Honor, we're here today because my clients, Emily Brennan and Kevin Brennan, are deeply concerned about their father's welfare. Over the past year, they've witnessed significant cognitive decline, memory lapses, confusion, poor judgment. They're seeking guardianship not out of malice, but out of love and a desire to protect their father from harming himself." Judge Hess looked at Richard. "Mr. Voss?" Richard stood. "Your Honor, this case is not about protecting Mr. Brennan. It's about 2 adult children attempting to seize control of their father's substantial assets. Mr. Brennan is fully competent. He manages his finances, maintains his property, and makes sound decisions. His children are upset because he refused to sign over power of attorney. This petition is retaliation, not concern." "I'll hear evidence from both sides," Judge Hess said. "Ms. Drummond, call your first witness." "We call Emily Brennan." Emily walked to the stand. She raised her right hand, swore to tell the truth, sat down. Patricia Drummond approached. "Ms. Brennan, can you describe your relationship with your father?" "We've always been close. I'm his only daughter. Growing up, we spent a lot of time together. He coached my softball team, helped me with homework, walked me down the aisle at my wedding." "When did you first notice changes in his behavior?" "About a year ago. He started forgetting things, small things at first, where he'd put his keys, what day of the week it was. But then it got worse." "Can you give me specific examples?" "Last Thanksgiving, he forgot my husband's name. They've known each other for 10 years. He called him Greg. His name is Tom. When I corrected him, Dad got defensive, said he was joking, but he wasn't." I leaned toward Richard. "That's a lie. I've never called Tom by the wrong name." Richard wrote something on his notepad. "We'll address it," Emily continued. "In January, he texted my brother at 3 a.m, just said, 'Call me.' No context. Kevin called him back the next day, and Dad didn't remember sending it." Another lie. "I told Kevin exactly why I texted him." Richard wrote again. "What about financial decisions?" Patricia asked. "He's been erratic. He withdrew $10,000 from his savings account and couldn't explain why. He missed a mortgage payment for the first time in 20 years. He tried to invest in some kind of cryptocurrency scheme that was obviously a scam." I gripped the armrest. Richard touched my shoulder. "Let her finish." "When did you decide to seek guardianship?" Patricia asked. "After we tried to help him voluntarily. My brother and I met with Dad in November. We brought documents, a plan. We thought if we laid everything out clearly, he'd understand. But he refused. He got angry. He accused us of trying to steal from him. And then, what happened? He signed different documents, papers that revoked our ability to help him, papers that cut us out. He did it behind our backs. Did that concern you?" "It terrified me." It showed he was paranoid, suspicious of his own children. That's not normal. Patricia nodded. No further questions. Richard stood up. Ms. Brennan, you testified that your father forgot your husband's name at Thanksgiving. Is it possible he was joking? No. Have you ever forgotten someone's name? That's different. How? I'm not 64 years old, showing signs of cognitive decline. Your father is 64, not 70. You got his age wrong earlier. Does that mean you're cognitively impaired? Emily's face flushed. No. You testified that your father withdrew $10,000 and couldn't explain it. Did you ask him why he withdrew the money? Yes. What did he say? He said it was for home repairs. Did he make home repairs? I don't know. So he did explain the withdrawal. You just didn't believe him. It seemed suspicious. You testified that he missed a mortgage payment. Do you have proof of that? She hesitated. He told me. He told you he missed a payment? Not exactly. I assumed based on a comment he made. So you have no actual evidence he missed a payment? No. You testified that he tried to invest in a cryptocurrency scheme. Did he invest any money? I don't know. Did he lose any money? I don't know. So you have no evidence he made a bad investment. You're just assuming he was going to. It was obvious to you, but you're not a financial expert, are you? No. Your father has managed his finances successfully for 40 years, correct? Yes. He owns 2 properties, has a retirement account worth over $600,000, has no debt besides his mortgage, correct? Yes. And yet you believe he's incompetent to manage his own money? He's declining. Based on what? A text message at an unusual hour? Forgetting a name you claim he forgot? Assumptions about his financial decisions? Emily's voice rose. Based on watching my father become someone I don't recognize. Or is it based on the fact that he refused to let you control his assets? That's not... Your father refused to sign over power of attorney. That made you angry, didn't it? It made me concerned. Concerned enough to file a false report with Adult Protective Services? Patricia Drummond stood up. Objection. No evidence connects my client to that report. Sustained, Judge Hess said. Richard turned back to Emily. After your father refused to cooperate, you filed for guardianship, correct? To protect him? To control his assets? No. You testified that you wanted to sell his house, sell his rental property, put him in a facility, give him $1,800 a month. That's not protection, that's a takeover. We were trying to simplify his life by taking everything he owns, by managing his affairs responsibly, without his input. Because he's not capable of understanding. He understood perfectly. He just disagreed with you, and that's not incompetence. That's autonomy. Richard sat down. Emily looked shaken. Patricia Drummond called Kevin next. He walked to the stand, looked at me once, looked away. Mr. Brennan, can you describe your relationship with your father? He's my dad. We've always been close. He taught me to drive, helped me through law school. We used to play golf every Sunday. When did that stop? About 6 months ago. He started canceling. Said he didn't feel like it. Then he stopped returning my calls. That wasn't true either. Kevin had stopped calling after I refused to lend him money for the house down payment. Did you notice any other changes? Patricia asked. He became paranoid, accused my sister and me of conspiring against him, said we were trying to steal his money. It was bizarre. Did you try to help him? We tried, but he wouldn't listen. He'd get angry, defensive. It was like talking to a stranger. Do you believe your father is capable of managing his own affairs? No, I think he needs help, and I think he's too proud to admit it. Richard's cross-examination was sharper. Mr. Brennan, you're an attorney, correct? Yes. You understand legal documents, power of attorney, trusts, guardianship. Yes. When you and your sister met with your father in November, you brought pre-drafted documents, correct? Yes. Did those documents give you control of his assets? They gave us the ability to manage control, yes or no? Kevin hesitated. Yes? Did you consult your father before drafting those documents? We discussed it. When? At the meeting. So you didn't consult him. You presented him with a fait accompli and expected him to sign. We thought it was best. Best for who? Him or you? For everyone. You're expecting a child, correct? Yes. You and your wife are in debt, correct? Kevin's face went pale. That's personal. It's relevant. You're in debt. You need money. Your father has money, so you tried to take it. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? Protecting my father. From what? From making his own decisions? From saying no to you? From making mistakes he can't recover from? Like refusing to fund your lifestyle? Patricia Drummond stood. Objection. Badgering. Sustained, Judge Hess said. Mr. Voss, move on. Richard nodded. No further questions. Patricia Drummond called Jessica next. She waddled to the stand, one hand on her stomach, playing the pregnancy for sympathy. Mrs. Brennan, have you witnessed any concerning behavior from your father-in-law? Yes. He's paranoid. He accused me of trying to steal from him. He's been hostile to me and my husband. It's been really stressful, especially with the baby coming. Do you believe he's a danger to himself? I think he's making bad decisions, and I think if someone doesn't step in, he's going to end up broke or hurt. Richard's cross-examination was brief. Mrs. Brennan, how long have you known your father-in-law? 8 years. In those 8 years, has he ever given you reason to believe he's incompetent? Not until recently. Define recently. The past year. Or the past 6 months? Since you and your husband asked him for money and he said no. Her eyes widened. That's not... You're in debt. You need money. Your father-in-law has money. So you convinced your husband to sue him for guardianship. That's not true, isn't it? She didn't answer. No further questions, Richard said. Patricia Drummond rested her case. Judge Hess looked at Richard. Call your first witness. We called Dr. Michael Reeves. Dr. Reeves took the stand. He looked calm, professional. Richard asked him about my medical history, my cognitive function, the letter he'd written. In your medical opinion, is Mr. Brennan competent to manage his own affairs? Yes, absolutely. Are there any signs of dementia or cognitive impairment? None. Have you ever observed behavior that concerned you? No, he's one of my healthiest patients. Sharp, engaged, independent. Patricia Drummond's cross-examination tried to poke holes. Dr. Reeves, you wrote a letter stating Mr. Brennan is competent, but you also wrote notes 6 months ago mentioning he forgot where he parked. Correct? Yes, but forgetting where you parked once doesn't indicate cognitive decline. It's a normal memory lapse. You also noted he seemed confused about dates. He asked me what day of the week it was. That's not confusion. That's a routine question. But you documented it. I document everything. It's part of the medical record. Could those notes be interpreted as signs of decline? They could be misinterpreted by someone looking for evidence of decline, but in context, they're meaningless. Richard called Tom Garrity next. Tom explained my financial history, the retirement account, the properties, the consistent, smart decisions I'd made over decades. In your professional opinion, is Mr. Brennan capable of managing his finances? Absolutely. He's one of my best clients. Disciplined, strategic. He's built substantial wealth through careful planning. Patricia Drummond tried to trip him up. Mr. Garrity, are you aware Mr. Brennan withdrew $10,000 from his account without explanation? I'm aware he withdrew $10,000. He told me it was for home repairs. That's a perfectly reasonable expense. Did you verify the repairs were made? I'm a financial advisor, not an inspector, but I had no reason to doubt him. Finally, Richard called me. I walked to the stand, raised my hand, swore to tell the truth. Richard asked me basic questions, my name, my age, my occupation before retirement, my daily routine. Then he asked about the meeting in November. Can you describe what happened? My children came to my house with pre-drafted documents. They told me where I'd live, how much money I'd have, what would happen to my property. They didn't ask me. They told me. How did that make you feel? Angry, disrespected. Did you understand the documents? Completely. They wanted power of attorney, control of my assets, authority to sell my property and institutionalize me. Why did you refuse? Because I'm not incompetent. I'm fully capable of managing my own life. They wanted control, not because I need help, but because they want my money. Patricia Drummond's cross-examination was brutal. Mr. Brennan, you texted your son at 3 a.m. Why? I had acid reflux, couldn't sleep. Remembered I wanted to ask him about refinancing rates. Sent a text asking him to call when he could. At 3 a.m. I didn't think about the time. I figured he'd see it when he woke up. Do you often forget what time it is? No. You asked your daughter the same question twice in one day. I asked her once. She didn't answer. I followed up 7 hours later. That's not confusion. That's persistence. You withdrew $10,000 from your account. For home repairs, new roof, Needed cash for the contractor. Do you have receipts? Yes, at home. But not with you today. You didn't ask for them. She paused, smiled slightly. Mr. Brennan, do you believe your children love you? The question caught me off guard. I used to. You used to? Before they tried to take everything I own. Or are you paranoid, seeing conspiracy where there's only concern? I'm not paranoid, I'm informed. They consulted attorneys, doctors, realtors. They made plans without me. That's not concern. That's a hostile takeover. Or is it two children trying desperately to help a father who's too stubborn to see he needs it? If they wanted to help, they'd have asked me what I needed. They didn't. They decided for me. She stared at me. I stared back. No further questions, she said. Judge Hess called a recess. 30 minutes. Richard and I stood in the hallway. How do you think it went? I asked. Good. You stayed calm, answered clearly. She tried to rattle you, but you held up. What happens now? Closing arguments, then the judge decides. We went back in. Patricia Drummond gave her closing. Your Honor, the evidence is clear. Mr. Brennan is showing signs of cognitive decline. His children are seeking guardianship not for personal gain, but to protect him. This is a family in crisis. A father who won't admit he needs help. Children who are willing to do the hard thing, the right thing, even when it's painful. I ask you to grant this petition. Richard gave his closing. Your Honor, this case is a textbook example of elder abuse. Two adult children, motivated by greed and entitlement, are attempting to seize control of their father's assets. They've manufactured evidence. They've misrepresented medical records. They've filed false reports. Mr. Brennan is competent. He's independent. And he has the right to live his life without interference from children who see him as a bank account. I ask you to deny this petition and award costs to Mr. Brennan. Judge Hess leaned back. I'll take this under advisement. You'll have my ruling within 2 weeks. We left the courtroom. Emily and Kevin walked past without looking at me. Margaret was waiting outside. How did it go? We won't know for 2 weeks. She took my hand. Then we wait. The 2 weeks after the hearing were the longest of my life. Every time the phone rang, I thought it was Richard with the ruling. Every time the mail came, I checked for an envelope from the court. Margaret kept busy, gardening, reading, baking. She didn't talk about the case unless I brought it up. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I replayed every answer I'd given, every question Patricia Drummond had asked, every expression on Judge Hess's face. You're driving yourself crazy, Margaret said one night. I can't help it. The judge will rule fairly. You did everything right. What if I didn't? Then we appeal. On the 10th day, Richard called. We have the ruling, he said. My heart stopped. And? You won. I exhaled. Say that again. You won. Judge Hess denied the petition. She found no evidence of cognitive impairment. She also noted that Emily and Kevin's testimony was inconsistent and appeared motivated by financial interest rather than genuine concern. Did she award costs? She did. $22,000. Emily and Kevin have to pay your attorney fees. I sat down. Margaret was watching me from across the room. Thank you, I said. You're welcome. I'll send you the full ruling. Congratulations. I hung up, looked at Margaret. We won. She smiled. I know. They have to pay my attorney fees. Good. I started laughing. Not because it was funny, because the tension I'd been carrying for months finally broke. Margaret came over and hugged me. It's over. Yeah, but it wasn't. 3 days later, Emily called. Dad, Emily, we got the ruling. I know. We're appealing. I closed my eyes. Of course you are. Judge Hess made errors. She didn't consider all the evidence. She was biased. She was fair. You lost because your case was garbage. We're not giving up. You're going to bankrupt yourselves. We're going to win. She hung up. I called Richard. They're appealing. I know. Patricia Drummond filed the notice this morning. Can they win? Unlikely. The judge's ruling was thorough. But an appeal will take months. Maybe a year. And cost more money. Yes? Do I have to pay for that too? Only if you lose the appeal, but you won't. I hung up and told Margaret. They're not going to stop, she said. No. So, we stopped them. How? She looked at me. You own the rental property in Ohio, correct? Yes. What's it worth? About $300,000. And it brings in $4,000 a month. Yes. Who inherits it when you die? Emily and Kevin. Split 50-50. She nodded slowly. Change the will. What? Change the will. Cut them out. Leave everything to me, or to charity, or to anyone but them. They'll contest it. Let them. If they're going to spend years fighting you in court, make sure they end up with nothing. I thought about it. About the house, the rental property, the retirement account, everything I'd built over 40 years. They're my children, I said. They stopped acting like your children when they sued you for guardianship. Changing the will feels final. It is final. That's the point. I called Richard the next day. I want to change my will. Go on? I want to disinherit Emily and Kevin. Long pause. Are you sure? Yes. This is going to escalate things. Things are already escalated. Okay, I'll draft the amendment, but I need to warn you. If you die while the appeal is pending, they'll challenge the will. They'll argue you were incompetent when you made the change. Can they win? Not if we document everything properly. I'll have you evaluated by a different doctor. Independent, objective. We'll make it bulletproof. Do it. The new will was drafted within a week. I met with a neurologist, Dr. Patricia Kwan. She spent 2 hours with me, memory tests, logic puzzles, medical history review. You're perfectly competent, she said at the end. Can you document that? I already am. I signed the new will in Richard's office. Margaret signed as a witness. Richard's paralegal signed as the second witness. It's done, Richard said. Do I tell them? That's up to you, but if you do, expect a reaction. I didn't tell them. Not yet. I wanted to wait until the appeal was resolved, but Emily found out anyway. 4 weeks after I signed the new will, she called. What did you do? What are you talking about? The will. You changed it. How do you know that? I have my ways. I thought about Richard's office, the paralegal, the court filings. Someone had talked. It's my will. I can change it whenever I want. You cut us out. Yes. You can't do that. I just did. We're your children. You're the people suing me for guardianship. There's a difference. This is Mom's idea. She's turning you against us. Your mother has nothing to do with this. You turned me against you all by yourselves. We're going to challenge it. Go ahead. Add it to the appeal. Rack up more legal fees you can't afford. You're a spiteful old man. I'm a man protecting what's his from people who want to take it. She hung up. Margaret was sitting at the kitchen table. She knows? She knows. How? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's done. That night, Kevin called. Dad, please, don't do this. Do what? Cut us out. We're your kids. You deserve nothing. You sued me. You tried to declare me incompetent. You filed false reports. You've cost me thousands of dollars. Why would I leave you anything? Because we're family. Family doesn't do what you did. We were trying to help. You were trying to steal. Dad, stop calling me Dad. You lost that right when you filed the petition. I hung up. Margaret looked at me. You okay? No, but I will be. The appeal dragged on for months. Briefs, responses, oral arguments. Every step cost money. Every step took time. Richard kept me updated. The appellate court had 3 judges. They'd hear arguments in 6 months. What are the odds? I asked. 80-20 in your favor. The original ruling was solid, but you never know with appeals. 6 months later, we went to the appellate court. Different building, bigger courtroom, 3 judges behind the bench. Patricia Drummond argued for Emily and Kevin. Richard argued for me. The judges asked questions, sharp questions. They'd read the record. They knew the case. After 30 minutes, the lead judge said, "We'll issue a written opinion within 60 days. 2 months later, the opinion came. Appeal denied, Richard said over the phone. The court upheld Judge Hess's ruling. You won, again. Is it over? They could try to appeal to the state Supreme Court, but they won't. The case is too weak. It's over, I told Margaret. She hugged me. Now what? She asked. Now we figure out how to move on. But moving on was harder than I thought. Emily and Kevin stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped existing in my life. I'd see their social media posts sometimes, Kevin's promotion at the firm, Jessica's baby shower, Emily's vacation photos. They looked happy, like they'd moved on. I hadn't. One night, Margaret found me in the garage. I was sitting on an old folding chair, holding a picture from Emily's high school graduation. You miss them, she said. I miss who they used to be. They're still your children. They're strangers who happen to share my DNA. She sat down next to me. You know, you could reach out. And say what? I don't know, but holding on to this anger isn't good for you. They tried to destroy me. And they failed. You won. So now what? You spend the rest of your life hating them? I looked at the picture. Emily in her cap and gown, smiling, proud. I don't know how to forgive them, I said. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe you just have to let go. I didn't reach out. But I stopped checking their social media, stopped thinking about them every day, stopped carrying the anger like a weight. Months passed, then a year. One afternoon, I got a letter, handwritten envelope, Emily's handwriting. I almost threw it away, but Margaret said I should read it. Inside was a single page. Dad, I know I don't have the right to ask for forgiveness. What Kevin and I did was wrong. We were scared. Scared of losing you. Scared of not being enough. Scared of facing our own failures. We took that fear and turned it into something ugly. I'm sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know that I see what we did, and I'm ashamed. Love, Emily. I read it 3 times. Margaret asked, What are you going to do? I don't know. Do you believe her? I think she believes herself. That's not the same thing. I know. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, Kevin sent a similar letter. Same tone, same apology. I put that one in the drawer too. Margaret asked if I'd ever respond. Maybe, I said, but not yet. When? When I'm ready. I wasn't ready for a long time, but one day I was sitting on the back porch, drinking coffee, watching the sun come up, and I realized something. I'd spent 2 years fighting, 2 years angry, 2 years waiting for the next attack, and I was tired. Not tired of being right, tired of being at war. I called Emily. She answered on the 3rd ring. Dad? Hi. Silence. Then, hi. I got your letter? I didn't think you'd read it. I read it. More silence. I'm sorry, she said. For all of it. I know. Do you forgive me? I thought about it. About the binder, the documents, the hearing, the will. I don't know yet, I said. But I'm willing to try. She started crying. Thank you. We talked for an hour. Not about the case. About other things. Her work, my garden, Margaret's book club. It wasn't the same. It would never be the same. But it was something. I called Kevin next. Similar conversation, similar tears. They asked if they could visit. I said not yet, but someday. Margaret asked me how I felt. Lighter, I said. Good. The will's still the same. I know. I'm not changing it back. I wouldn't expect you to. But I don't hate them anymore. Good, she said again. And it was. 3 months after I called Emily, she asked if she and Kevin could come by for coffee. Not to discuss the case, not to ask for money, just to talk. I said yes. They showed up on a Saturday morning. Emily brought flowers. Kevin brought bagels. Jessica wasn't with them. Neither was Emily's husband, Tom. We sat in the living room, the same room where this all started. How have you been? Emily asked. Good. You? Busy. Work's insane, but good. Kevin nodded. I made partner. Congratulations. Thanks. It's been a lot, but worth it. We made small talk for 20 minutes. Weather, sports, local news, surface-level things, safe things. Then Emily set down her coffee. Dad, I need to say something. Okay. What we did was unforgivable. I know that. I'm not here to make excuses or ask you to pretend it didn't happen. I just want you to know that I understand. I see what I did, and I'm ashamed. Kevin nodded. Me too. I let Jessica convince me that you weren't capable. I let my own financial problems cloud my judgment. I betrayed you, and I'm sorry. I looked at them, my daughter, my son. They looked older, tired, but sincere. I appreciate that, I said. Do you forgive us? Emily asked. I'm working on it. She nodded. That's fair. We talked for another hour. Not about the money, not about the will, just about life. When they left, Emily hugged me. Kevin shook my hand. Can we do this again? Emily asked. Yeah, we can. After they left, Margaret asked how it went. Better than expected. Are you okay? I think so. Over the next few months, Emily and Kevin visited regularly. Once a month, then twice, then every other week. We didn't talk about the case. We didn't talk about the will. We talked about normal things, family things. Slowly, carefully, we rebuilt something. Not the relationship we had before. That was gone, but something new, fragile, tentative. One evening, Kevin asked if I'd meet his daughter. She was 6 months old. Her name was Claire. I said yes. He brought her over on a Sunday afternoon. She had Kevin's eyes, Jessica's nose. She smiled when I held her. She's beautiful, I said. Kevin's eyes watered. Thanks, Dad. Emily asked if I'd come to her house for dinner. I said yes. We ate pasta, drank wine, laughed. It felt almost normal. But there was a shadow over everything, unspoken, unresolved, the will. Margaret brought it up one night after Emily and Kevin left. You're rebuilding a relationship with them, she said. Yeah. Are you going to change the will? I don't know. They're going to expect it. I know. What do you want to do? I thought about it, about the trust, about the money, about Emily and Kevin and everything that had happened. I don't know, I said again, but I knew I had to decide. Eventually. 6 months after Emily and Kevin started visiting, Richard called. I'm updating your estate plan. Do you want to make any changes to the will? What kind of changes? Reinstate Emily and Kevin as beneficiaries, or keep them disinherited. It's up to you. I sat with the question for days. Margaret didn't push me. She said it was my decision. Finally, I made up my mind. I called Richard. Keep the will as is. You're sure? I'm sure. Even though you're rebuilding a relationship with them? The relationship we're building now is separate from what they did. They sued me. They tried to take everything. Forgiving them doesn't mean I trust them with my money. Understood. I'll leave it as is. When Emily and Kevin asked about the will, I told them the truth. I'm not changing it. Emily's face fell. Ever? I don't know, but not now. Kevin nodded slowly. That's fair. Is it? Emily asked. You tried to declare me incompetent and take my assets. I stopped you. The will reflects that. If you can't accept it, that's your problem. She looked at the floor. I understand. Do you? Yes. But I wasn't sure she did. Over the next year, things stayed the same. Emily and Kevin visited. We had dinners. We celebrated birthdays. We acted like a family. But the will was always there, unspoken, a reminder. One afternoon, Margaret asked me if I'd ever change it. Maybe, if they prove I can trust them. How would they do that? I don't know yet. You're testing them. I'm protecting myself. Same thing. I thought about that. Was I testing them, or was I just being cautious? Maybe both. 2 years after the case ended, Emily called. Dad, I need to tell you something. Okay. Tom and I are getting divorced. I sat down. I'm sorry. It's been coming for a while. We're just different people now. Are you okay? I will be, but I wanted you to know. Do you need anything? No, I just wanted to tell you. A month later, Kevin called. Jessica and I are separating. What happened? We grew apart. The stress of the baby, the job, everything. We're just not working anymore. I'm sorry, Kevin. It's okay. It's for the best. I wondered if the case had contributed to their marriages falling apart. The stress, the guilt, the shame. But I didn't ask. Emily moved into a smaller house. Kevin moved into an apartment. They both seemed lighter, freer. One evening, Emily came over alone. She sat at the kitchen table with Margaret and me. I need to tell you something, she said. Go ahead. I've been in therapy for 2 years, working through what happened, what I did. That's good. My therapist says I need to make amends, real amends, not just apologies. What does that mean? She pulled out an envelope. Inside was a check, made out to me for $22,000. This is the amount Kevin and I owed you in attorney fees. I've been saving. I want to pay you back. I stared at the check. Emily. I know the court ordered us to pay it, and we didn't. We couldn't afford it. But now I can, and I want to. I looked at Margaret. She nodded. Thank you, I said. It's not enough. It'll never be enough, but it's a start. 2 weeks later, Kevin came over. He handed me an envelope. Inside was another check. $11,000. It's half, he said. I'll pay the rest in 6 months, I promise. Kevin, you don't have to. Yes, I do. I owe you. I hurt you. I need to make it right. 6 months later, he paid the rest. I deposited both checks. Then I called Richard. I want to change the will. Go on. Reinstate Emily and Kevin. Split everything 50-50. Are you sure? I'm sure. The new will was drafted. I signed it. Margaret witnessed it. When Emily and Kevin came over for dinner, I told them. I changed the will. Emily looked up. What? You're back in. 50-50 split. Everything. She started crying. Kevin did too. Thank you, Emily said. Don't thank me. You earned it. And they had. But that's not where the story ends. Because 6 months later, everything changed. I was at the grocery store when I ran into Jessica. She was alone, no Claire. She looked thinner, tired. Hi, I said. Hi. We stood there awkwardly. Then she said, Can we talk? About what? About Kevin, about everything. We sat in a coffee shop nearby. She ordered tea, I ordered coffee. Kevin and I are getting back together, she said. Good. I'm glad. But there's something you need to know. What? She looked at me. The whole guardianship thing. That was me, not Emily, not Kevin. Me. I set down my coffee. What? I convinced them. I researched the laws. I found the attorney. I pushed the whole thing. Why? Because we were broke. Because Kevin was drowning in debt from law school. Because I thought you had more money than you needed. Because I was selfish. I didn't say anything. Emily and Kevin feel guilty, but it was my idea. I manipulated them. I made them think you were declining. I cherry-picked evidence. I orchestrated everything. Why are you telling me this? Because they don't know. They think they came up with it on their own, but they didn't. I did, and I need you to know the truth. Are you expecting forgiveness? No, I'm expecting you to hate me. I just wanted you to know your kids aren't as guilty as you think they are. She stood up. I'm sorry. For everything. She left. I sat there for a long time, thinking, processing. When I got home, I told Margaret. Jessica orchestrated the whole thing, I said. Do you believe her? I don't know, but it makes sense. Kevin was always weak. Emily was always greedy. But neither of them was that calculating. Jessica is? Are you going to tell them? I don't know. But I did tell them. A week later, I invited Emily and Kevin over. Told them what Jessica had said. Kevin's face went pale. That's not true. Isn't it? Emily shook her head. She's lying. She's trying to shift blame. Maybe, or maybe she's telling the truth. They both stared at me. Either way, I said. It doesn't matter. You still participated. You still signed the petition. You still testified against me. Jessica might have pushed, but you didn't stop her. Kevin looked at the floor. Emily wiped her eyes. I know, Kevin said. So do I, Emily said. But I also know you've been trying to make it right, and I appreciate that. They both looked at me. The will stands, I said. You're still in it, but if you ever pull something like this again, I'll cut you out and make sure you never inherit a dime. Understand? They nodded. Good. Now let's eat. For the next year, things were stable. Emily and Kevin visited regularly. They called. They sent pictures of Claire. We celebrated holidays together. But I started noticing things. Small things. Emily asking questions about the rental property. How much it was worth. Whether I'd thought about selling. Kevin mentioning expenses. Claire's daycare. Jessica's medical bills. The cost of the apartment. They weren't direct. They weren't aggressive. But they were there, Margaret noticed too. They're circling again. I know. What are you going to do? Watch. Wait. See if I'm right. One evening, Emily came over alone. She sat down at the kitchen table and said, Dad, I need to ask you something. Go ahead. The rental property in Ohio. Are you planning to keep it forever? Why? I'm just curious. It's a lot to manage from here. You have to deal with tenants, repairs, property taxes. I have a management company. They handle everything. Still, it's a lot. Have you thought about selling? Why would I sell? You could take the money and invest it in something more liquid, easier to manage. I like the rental income, $4,000 a month. But you don't need it. You and Mom are comfortable. You could sell, take the equity, and simplify your life. I looked at her. Emily, why are you really asking? She hesitated. Tom stopped paying child support. I'm covering everything on my own. The house, the bills, everything. I'm drowning. And you want me to sell the rental property and give you money. Not give. Loan. I'll pay you back. Like you paid back the attorney fees? That was different. How? I was a different person then. You were a different person 2 years ago. What makes you different now? She looked at me. I'm trying, Dad. I'm really trying. But life is hard. And I need help. Emily, I helped you through college. I helped you with your wedding. I've helped you your entire life. At some point, you have to stand on your own. I am standing on my own. I'm just asking for support. No, you're asking for money. There's a difference. She stood up. Fine. Forget I asked. Emily? No, it's fine. I shouldn't have asked. She left. Margaret came into the kitchen. You heard? I heard. What do you think? I think she hasn't changed as much as I thought. 2 weeks later, Kevin called. Dad, can we meet? I need to talk to you about something. We met at a diner near his apartment. He looked tired, stressed. Jessica and I are officially back together, he said. Good. But we're struggling. Her medical bills from the pregnancy, Claire's expenses, my student loans. We're barely keeping our heads above water. Kevin, I know what you're going to say, but I'm not asking for a handout. I'm asking for a loan, a real loan. With interest, I'll pay you back. I just need help getting through this rough patch. How much? 50,000. I almost choked on my coffee. 50,000? I know it's a lot, but it would consolidate our debt, lower our monthly payments, give us breathing room. Kevin, I'm not a bank. You're my father, which is exactly why I shouldn't loan you $50,000. It'll ruin our relationship. How? Because when you can't pay me back, you'll resent me, you'll avoid me, you'll feel guilty every time you see me, and I'll feel like an idiot for trusting you. I'll pay you back. You said that about the attorney fees. It took you 2 years. That was different. It's always different. But it's never different. He looked at the table. So that's a no. That's a no. He stood up. Thanks for nothing. Kevin? No, I get it. You don't trust me. You don't believe in me. You think I'm still the same person who sued you. You are the same person. You're just better at hiding it. He walked out. I sat there finishing my coffee, feeling the weight of it. When I got home, I told Margaret. They're back to their old patterns, she said. I know. What are you going to do? Change the will again? You just changed it a year ago, and now I'm changing it back. I called Richard the next day. I want to disinherit Emily and Kevin, again. What happened? They're asking for money, pressuring me. It's starting all over again. Are you sure you want to do this? You've changed the will 3 times in 3 years. At some point it looks like you're unstable. I'm not unstable. I'm reacting to their behavior. I understand. But if you die while the will is in flux, they'll challenge it. They'll argue you weren't competent, that you were being manipulated. By who, Margaret? Maybe, or by me, or by anyone. The point is, constant changes make you look indecisive. So what do I do? Make a final decision. Disinherit them or don't, but stop going back and forth. I thought about it. About Emily. About Kevin. About everything. Disinherit them, I said. For good. The will was changed. Margaret got everything. Emily and Kevin got nothing. I didn't tell them, not immediately. But they found out anyway. 3 weeks later, Emily called. You changed the will again. How do you know? I have my ways. You're spying on me. I'm protecting my interests. Your interests? It's my money. I can leave it to whoever I want. You're being spiteful. You're punishing us for asking for help. I'm protecting myself from people who see me as an ATM. You're our father. You're supposed to help us. I did help you. For years. I'm done. She hung up. Kevin called an hour later. Dad, please, don't do this. It's done. We're your children. You deserve nothing. You sued me. You tried to steal from me. You apologized. I forgave you. I gave you a second chance. And the first time things got hard, you came back asking for money. You haven't changed. You never will. That's not fair. Life's not fair, Kevin. Figure it out. I hung up. Margaret looked at me. You okay? No, but I will be. Over the next few months, Emily and Kevin stopped visiting, stopped calling, stopped existing in my life. It hurt, but it also felt right. One afternoon, I was sitting on the back porch when Margaret came outside. You know they're going to sue you again, she said. I know. Are you ready for that? I've been ready for years. But they didn't sue, not immediately. Instead, they waited. They watched, they planned. And then, 6 months later, everything came to a head. I got a call from a lawyer I didn't know. His name was Daniel Rostov. Mr. Brennan, I'm representing Emily and Kevin. They've asked me to negotiate a settlement. A settlement for what? They're prepared to file a lawsuit alleging undue influence. They believe your wife has been manipulating you into disinheriting them. They're willing to drop the suit if you reinstate them in the will and agree to mediation. Tell them to go to hell. Mr. Brennan, I'm not negotiating. I'm not mediating. If they want to sue me, let them sue. I'll destroy them in court. Again. I hung up. Richard called me that afternoon. I got a letter from Daniel Rostov. He called me too. What did you say? I told him to go to hell. Good, because they don't have a case. Undue influence requires proof that Margaret isolated you, manipulated you, or coerced you. She didn't do any of that. You've been making your own decisions. So they'll lose? They'll lose, but it'll cost you. Another 20, maybe 30,000. I thought about the attorney fees, the stress, the years of fighting. Let them file, I said. I'm done being afraid of them. They filed 3 weeks later. Another lawsuit, another petition, another round of hearings and depositions and motions, but this time I was ready.